Hey guys, it's Tahera Rene from Filter Free with Tahera Rene Christy. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me tell you about it. It's free, first of all. We like free. And it's a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And Anchor will actually distribute your podcast for you so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more platforms. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need in a podcast all in one place. But right now you got to go download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Do it now. Go. What's up, everybody? It's Filter Free with Tahera Rene Christy, and I am so excited to come back with a new podcast for all of you. It's been a minute since I've been able to record something. I have been managing my new business, Amore Probe, which is a line of natural wellness and beauty products and apparel. And it's been exciting. It's been fun. It's crazy launching a new business. There's so much that goes into it. But you definitely check me out at www.amorep, P as in Paul, .com, amorep.com. You can also check out my Etsy shop at Love Amore Probe, which is PROPRE. And when you get a chance. All right, so other than my neighbor mowing his lawn, hopefully you're able to hear. So now that I've gotten the noise under control, I wanted to talk a little bit about relationships today from the perspective of the entanglement situation that we have all heard about with Will and Jada Pinkett Smith. I want to talk about the humanity behind what has happened and hopefully give some people some enlightenment and some advice on how to avoid situations like what they're experiencing, but also give them a little bit of praise for the way that they are trying to resolve the situation. I know that sounds weird. We should be damning them to hell and shooting and throwing stones at them, but it's not the way things work. Not in reality when it comes to someone else's relationship. But I will tell you where they went wrong. And again, what you can do to prevent something like that in your own life. Now, most of us can't afford to be entangled. We are either in relationships for love or we're in relationships for convenience. We're in relationships because the rent's got to get paid and I can't pay the whole thing for myself, or circumstance just kind of ended up in a situation. But whatever your reason for being in a relationship, the idea behind it is to grow, is to build, is to move forward as a unit. I know many, many people who are in monogamous relationships, many people who are in polyamorous relationships where they date multiple people at once, and that works for them and it works for the partners involved. This podcast is not going to be judging anybody for anything, okay? There's no judgment. This is a judgment-free zone. You can go to church for any judgment or stuff like that where you are condemned or banned because of how you choose to live your life. That's not this. Will and Jada decided to bring in a third party into their marriage under the circumstance and situation that they were going to help this young man. August had been going through a lot of emotional issues. He was experiencing a lot of mental health issues. And because of his vulnerability, he unfortunately clashed at a time where Jada was also going through a lot of emotional instability. And while she's wise in a lot of different ways, she's enlightened in a lot of ways, she's spiritual in a lot of ways, she's also human. And that does not negate her responsibility as the grown-up in the room to have offered this boy some support. We call him a boy, he's a man, but offered this man some support without sexualizing the experience. And that is where she went wrong. She is probably an empath. She's probably, felt his pain on some level. And oftentimes, too often, people tend to sexualize help and support. Because many of us have had a difficult time getting support for the things that we need. And when someone comes, like the whole knight in shining armor, riding on a white horse coming in to save you type mentality, that doesn't have to just be a man. It doesn't just have to be in a relationship of love or seeking marriage. Oftentimes when we get support from someone that we utilize to help us grow or to change us, or they got us out of a bad situation. Say somebody let you borrow some money to help you out, or, they had your back, you had a death in the family, they let you cry on their shoulder. So many relationships build out of tragedy and out of circumstance. And it is in our nature to naturally want to thank that person. And some people's way of saying thank you happen to be sexual. Again, no judgment, but in this particular situation with this guy who was completely vulnerable, Jada, who happened to have completely been vulnerable herself from her own issues with insecurity in her marriage and just generally being unhappy with, all the money in the world, all the resources in the world. But when you're not happy with yourself, none of that really matters. This is where the whole more money, more problems saying comes from. You can have all the money in the world and still have problems and lawyers, people suing you, bad relationships, people using you. That's where all the problems come from. So she was unhappy with everything that she had. And the rest of us who are on the other side of the fence, who are like, girl, please, you had it all. There should have been nothing stopping you from being happy. But money doesn't make you happy. Having resources is just that. It's a tool. It's like having a hammer and a bunch of wood and some nails right next to you and say, build a house. Well, if you don't have the knowledge and the skill and the will to build that house, you just got a bunch of resources. You have a bunch of materials that doesn't materialize until you put forth the action. So she had started that Red Table Talk to give herself an outlet that was going to be glorified for her own healing. Let me say that again. Red Table Talk started as a result of her wanting to glorify her own healing process. Now, I love Red Table Talk. I watch it. I'm a big buff when it comes to anything working on someone's mental health and emotional health. But I can see that her family needed support. And they were going to get that privately regardless. But they are all attention whores, all media buffs, all media whores. The one thing you can't take away from a celebrity is attention. Because that's why they do it. That's why they crave it. There are plenty of people in this world that have plenty of money and you'll never know their names. Because they don't need the fame. They just want the money. But there are people in the media who need it. They crave it. Countless superstars and performers. They will say that literally it's like a drug. Lady Gaga sings songs about it. She's addicted to the applause. She's addicted to the attention that she receives from being a celebrity. And once that goes away, or once it dies down, then there's just you. And you actually have to face yourself. You have to look at yourself in the mirror every day, put on your clothes, and try and be a good person and receive gratification from yourself, your own efforts, your family, the people right in front of you. And that's just not enough for some people. And so I think that when August came around, she's unhappy. The applause has died down. She's done some shows. She also sings. She performs. But she put that aside for so many other things. That's where her passion is. Her passion is in music, but her music wasn't selling. And she just wasn't happy. She misses Tupac, that connection with another celebrity that was maybe a little bit deeper than Will. Will is really smart, but maybe that lost love made her long for that space and time. And August had reminded her of that lost love. These are all theories. I'm not spitting reality. I'm not in Jada's head, and I'm not her friend, but I'm also an empath, and I can read people very well. And I feel that he reminded her of something she once knew, a feeling she once had. So while her mission was to originally help this young man, he's not a boy, help this young man through his situation, it ended up being a sexual situation because he felt gratitude for the support that she was giving. She felt triggered and opened by a feeling she once felt that came back in a new form. And even when you're spiritually connecting with somebody, it's easy. It's such a thin line. Just like the whole song, falling in love with Jesus. Wait, hold on. Jesus is, a deity, right? You're supposed to worship him as someone who supports you and loves you. But how many women, how many men have fallen in love with Jesus to the point where they can't even have another partner because Jesus is in the way versus making a way. You know what I'm saying? So we can go, that's a whole nother topic. We can go into it, but I just want to give you that example. She walked that fine line of spiritual connectivity and sexual excitement and fell over on the excitement side and decided to sexualize this connectivity that she had with this young man. So she got entangled. And what a fitting description for what they did, because she's a married woman, married to a man that is her life partner. Regardless, they have been in these streets for years with an open marriage. Guys, girls, they both go both ways. So to say that they should have been monogamous is completely false. It wasn't in the cards. Again, people get married to grow, to cohabitate, to make children, to build businesses. People don't always all marry for love. And if you're not necessarily married to just love one another monogamously, then it must be one of those other reasons that they're married. They have children. They have built businesses. They have grown each other's careers in amazing ways. And at 50 some odd years old at this point, they don't see the point in looking for growth with someone else long term going forward. I can understand that. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I can understand it because in my own marriage, I love the fact that I can build with my husband. You know, is he perfect in every way for me? No. Am I perfect for him in every way? Absolutely not. But the one thing that I know for certain that no one can ever tell me anything else about my marriage is that our marriage has been progressive. For everything that's ever gone wrong in our marriage or any setback we've ever experienced, we've been able to grow and we've been able to change and shift and maneuver through every circumstance and come out better. To me, that is a relationship. That is progress. That is marriage. It's like telling someone success is money. And that has to be what success is for them. But what if success for me is growth? Or success for me is a new customer, just a new one, not 20,000 new ones, but just one new one. Or success for me is, making my mom happy. You can't tell somebody what success is to them. And for them, it would seem that success in their marriage means their children are supported, each other is supported, they have a friend for life, a confidant that they can tell anything to, that they can be honest with, that they can make mistakes and be forgiven for those mistakes. Man, if those are their outlooks for what success looks like in their marriage, then honey, that marriage is successful. It's extremely successful. It's us common folk who are in marriages to make sure that our half of the rent is paid, or I got pregnant, so let me go ahead and marry this man for these kids. Or, I was in a situation, I was young, I've been with him since I was 18, so let me stay, even though he's abusive or I got issues. And we feel like, well, how could they when I'm over here struggling in my situation, trying to make it successful, and they got all the money and the resources and access in the world? That's not what success is to them. And what success is for you has to be defined only by you. So let's leave our rocks on the ground in the garden and not pick them up and throw them at this particular couple, because we don't live their lives. We don't have to be justified by their actions. We have to walk and live in our own truth. The only issue that arises for me that I feel that is recoverable is the fact that this young man knew what he was getting into, but he was skewed because of her status, her being an authority figure of some kind, her being older, and she absolutely was in the wrong for not choosing the line of spirituality over sexuality. She should not have sexualized her relationship with this young man. But again, the grace of forgiveness in her marriage allows that to be set. And I can only imagine she has or will have a conversation with this young man to ask for his forgiveness so that he can move forward and she can move forward with her life. This is not a deal breaker in life that this man's going to crawl into a hole and perish because of her. I feel like this situation is redeeming. If you can walk out of any situation and have learned something from it, it wasn't a waste of your time. He's learned something about himself. What I feel he should have learned is pick your mentor wisely. Just because someone has something good to say to you or that feels good in that moment does not equate that their intentions are good for you. We keep calling him a boy because he was younger, but he was a man, okay? Fully capable of making his own decisions, knew this woman was in a relationship, and still decided to walk that fine line and tip over into the lust and sexual side of it. Yes, he was more vulnerable, but he was not an actual child. And so we have to put responsibility on both parties. It leans heavier on Jada's side, but we have to be responsible. I mean, at the end of the day, I think about my baby daddy situation. I was 20. He was 26. He was much older than me. He had a career. I was just in college. And I leaned over on the wrong side of that fine line and ended up with 3 kids with this man and a lot of heartache and turmoil. But damn it, here I am at 40, and I love the skin that I'm in. I love who I am, and I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't go through that and been taken advantage of in so many ways as a young woman, but a woman nonetheless that had choice. And I've at this point forgiven this man because I'm grateful for where I'm at. So again, before we are so quick to judge, we have to see both sides. We have to try to understand the different perspectives that exist in a situation like this, because both parties could have done things differently, but both parties walk out better people if they see what they could grow from in a situation so that this history does not repeat itself. I hope this has been supportive to you and helpful to you to kind of see where these things can happen in our own lives and to try and avoid them. If you're a leader in any type of way, and again, I'm speaking of adults. I can't even get on the kid issue because that will make me lose my mind. Hello. But if you're a grown person and you're with somebody who's younger than you, or even just somebody who you see is less mature than you, and they need your help, don't put yourself in a position to be for them to have to make a decision, or you to have to make a decision on whether or not to sexualize that relationship when that was not your intention. Your happiness is your responsibility. It's not anybody else's responsibility to make you happy or to pose situations that help you feel good. I don't care if you're single or you are in a relationship. You have to work on you. You have to support your mental and emotional health so that you're presenting the best possible version of yourself to the world, because it's not nobody else's responsibility once 18 hits. That's just how our society is set up. Now, there are going to be people that are going to care about you, which is great. But in case that's not the truth, you've got to take care of you. You've got to read, you've got to research and apply that knowledge so that you can have that wisdom to make better decisions. And when you make mistakes, don't be afraid to apologize. Say, I'm sorry. Say, I didn't know. I did wrong. Seek out some emotional support from friends or family. Go talk to a therapist and actually read the books they offer you to give you the support that you need. This is an opportunity for you to grow. So please take this as an example, not to judge someone else, but to check your own laundry list of emotional baggage that you carry and tuck them things away or open them wide open. Get them cleaned out so that you are presenting the best version of yourself to the world. This has been another episode of Filter Free with Tahera Rene Christy. I'm so grateful for your humanity. I respect you. I love you. And until next time, peace.